Welcome back, everybody, to the channel today. Me, Terrell, Nadia are here to talk about the upcoming Netflix gem, Castlevania Nocturne. If you've been in the tree and you haven't watched the original Castlevania, you need to be watching that right now because this is absolutely just blowing. I mean, everything that Netflix is paying for animation for the last couple years has been worth it. I don't think I've seen any. I don't think I've seen anything bad that they've done animation wise. And on top of that, like this animation just fits this show so perfectly. Like the tone, everything. Like at first I was like, but no, I really, I really dig this. Um, First off, let's before we even get into just kind of the overall review, what did you think about the show? Like, what was your feelings about this?
So I enjoyed it. I'm a fan of the series as well, the Castlevania TV series. So I was super interested in learning more about the Belmont family.
Yeah,
This is pretty exciting that this was announced. I am not too familiar with the games. I probably only played maybe one back in PS1 or 2 days.
yeah.
So I'm not too familiar with the lore, but I do know this is way down the line, 300 years later. So it's like an ancestor of Trevor. So I was really excited going in just to see the Belmont line, how they and Sypha, because I have a Sypha pop. I love Sypha. But yeah, it's super exciting to see they have a kid, and then eventually years and years later, how I guess the vampire assassins how they develop over the years.
Mm.
So I was super excited already going in, and then I really enjoyed the series. I think they did a great job. For me, one of the things that stood out was the character design. I love so
Yeah.
many of the characters in this, and I don't know. I was a little worried, also not seeing, I guess, Dracula and some of the major characters from the original series,
Right.
but the villains were just as badass in this too.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Just kind of jumping on what you were saying, like I am somebody I've played a good chunk of these games, like a lot of them, and I damn sure couldn't tell you what the lore is with the story, because honestly, you're not meant to pay attention to it. It's just stupid. Like, all you know is you got to be Dracula. Um, I think the game that probably had the most story that probably really explained a lot more was probably the one that everybody has played, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which was on, it introduces Alucard, and you get Trevor and you get Richter. You kind of come across them in that game, but again, still not a lot of story given there. You kind of gotta read in between the lines with a lot of this stuff. I think they did a really good job on this show. I think that obviously, I mean, just coming back from the successful from the other one, and again, the record that Netflix is going on, and I just want to point this out because I feel like I got to bring this up every time I do a review, especially when it comes to Netflix. Remember when everybody said they was canceling Netflix subscriptions? I feel like it's like every year, like something pisses somebody off. Oh, they're doing a price increase. I'm done. I'm quitting. But then they keep giving you content, right? And clearly you're watching it because the numbers say otherwise. So don't tell me you're not.
Yeah,
So,
Netflix is one not to part with.
oh, I can't share my password with 20 people from work. Yeah, you probably shouldn't. That's like feeling, bro. But yeah, but again, they've been bringing this fire, bringing this heat. And this is example. But let's talk about the product here. Let's just give you a description of what Castlevania Nocturne is going to be. During the French Revolution, vampire hunter prodigy Richter Belmont fights to uphold his family's legacy and prevent the rise of a ruthless, power-hungry vampire. Um, Now, when I first started watching this, I didn't know. I was like, man, did I miss an episode or am I confused? You said this is 300 years after the last series? Because I feel like it never really
Yeah.
explained.
So the original series, I believe, was the 1200s, and this is the French Revolution, and it's way down the line. I forgot how many, but Richter, I think, is nine uh generations down or something like that, like a great 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 great. His grandfather was Simon, or was it his great? It's just down the line. Down no, yeah, his great grandfather was Simon, who was a major character in the game, like the original arc.
Yeah.
And then Richter is now, which is way down the line, and I believe it's nine generations down.
They still can't kill these vampires. think after like, oh, let's take a Dracula out, like, okay, that's it. Oh, vampire. That's always been the original vampire lore. You kill the original vampire, everybody else should turn back normal. I feel like they just kind of done away with that. Like you just stuck as a vampire. Like, but yeah, like you said, the story is only 8 episodes. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but the story is really good. So I guess let's start off, like, it's kind of going to categories here. The voice acting. I thought the voice acting was phenomenal.
Oh yes.
The cast. I don't know who these people are. We got Zach McLaren as Aurochs. Sophie Skelton as Julia Belmont. Natasha Kenichi as Tara. Edward Blume as Richter Belmont. I'm not gonna go through the whole list, but yeah, those were our top lists. And I'm trying to think where none of these. Okay, they didn't do. I'm looking at the list. I'm like, did they reprise roles from the previous? So
yeah, we don't want to get into that territory.
Yeah. So they haven't done anything from that original series. But the voice acting I thought was pretty good. Like the story itself, like the drama in between, like, man, there was a lot of sad moments. Which it seems to be a lot of this, like, in this particular show. Kind of your thoughts on just kind of the drama here, like it just, having like a really good balance of the action and the drama. Do you think that the story was like, it definitely held your attention?
I think it did. One thing we have to like remember too is that Richter's like, I guess, like a young adult teenager. Yeah. Like they're young in this series, so they kind of like explored, I guess, their growing up, kind of like we see a little bit of like character development, and then like finding themselves and like their powers, and without giving anything away of like other characters in the series and their backgrounds. It's really cool how they all came together. So it's like him, Annette, and
the singer, what is his name?
The little girl.
Maria.
And the singer.
You're talking about
Edward, yeah. So these 4 come together, and they kind of, I guess, like I said, without giving anything away, they come from very different backgrounds. Right. So that's one thing that I like that the series explored was race, which was new to this season. So there was a lot of that, like different cultures and different backgrounds, and how they're all still teenagers. So they're all kind of dealing with these hardships of like losing a loved one or losing your parents and like developing powers. So I think they did a really good job on that.
Yeah, I think the overall theme of this show is like dealing with loss. How do you deal with like the fear of loss and certain things? And like you said, like the show dealing with race. It's wild to see vampires have a whole plantation. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, man, it's like that kind of makes you rethink history a little bit. Like, was it vampires that was on these things and XYZ, almost kind of farming, African Americans and stuff like that for blood and everything else. But like you said, it definitely touches a different like the family roots, like the legacy stuff like that within this series. Where I think the previous was like kind of straightforward, like, yeah, we got to kill Dracula, we gotta stop this war. This is touching a little bit more in this show. What did you think about like I said, I talked about the animation. What did you think about the choice of animation again for this particular series? You feel like that it works for this at all?
I think it works. It's I guess like a particular thing for me. Like, I like more old school animation. I don't necessarily care for like the new 3D-ish style animes, like that kind of, not to say cheats, but kind of cheapens the product a little bit for me. It doesn't necessarily work for, I guess, every adaptation or every story, but for this, I love the artwork. And I mentioned before, like the character design was one thing I absolutely loved about this series. I fell in love with what was her name? Drolta?
With
she was like the Egyptian vampire. Beautiful hair, purple.
The pink hair?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was like, what was her name? Like,
yeah, I think it was Drolta, right?
Hold on, I'm pulling that up for you now. So we
I think
both.
That was Drolta. Yeah, because she wasn't the Messiah, but the one that introduced the Messiah.
Yeah, they all got her name on it. So, but yeah, I'm agreeing with that.
But yeah, I loved her. I was like, oh my god, like, she's dope.
I really love the design, what they did with her, how the moonlight would show like kind of her pinkish hair, kind of shimmer and stuff like that. It was just, like I said, really cool design. And like how I was saying to you offline, I was like, wow, the vampires like super attractive. Like,
yeah, they were so
like,
attractive. Vampires are always attractive. That makes you want to be a vampire. They're just so
yeah, but at the same time, it kind of does it, right? Like, you never see
no
like
one need to get to the death part.
it's like almost like no dusty vampires in the show, outside of like the ghouls that they
Even
wind
the
up.
Aztec like king.
Yeah, right. Like,
He had swag.
yeah, it definitely fits, man. Like the whole time I'm thinking, because like in the original series, I already wanted to see more of Richter. Because that was like, I wanted the younger, I wanted to see like more of the. I mean, even though they did that in the original series, but I felt like Trevor was kind of boring to me.
I like Trevor more later on.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, like they just threw Trevor in, and they were kind of just there. But
Right.
later on, I think we saw more of his personality, and then like when him and Cypher got together, like we started to see like a little more of their chemistry and like a little more personality.
Yeah, and this one this one's all about, this particular series all about found family, like and people coming together, finding a family outside of your initial blood and stuff like that. They get into that a lot here. And I talked about the animation, but talk about the music, the score that they use for this, because that's something that I really be wanting to hear. Like if they're going to use like a lot of the music from the games, they don't. But what was your kind of your thoughts on the music that they use, kind of like during the fights and a lot of the dramatic moments? I thought it was pretty good.
I think it matched the tone very well. Like they changed up a lot, whether it was like something like a battle scene or something that was kind of like, I would say like a little gruesome, like some of the attacks and stuff. It was like very like high energy. And then they also put like a lot of the opera music, which is really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded really good too. Whoever the
eerie.
Yeah. A lot of like the pitch and everything came through really well, at least when I was watching it. But yeah,
like with the night monsters.
Right.
That's super eerie.
But yeah, like I said, I was hoping to hear some of that, that Super Nintendo, that Genesis, some of those like remix, like kind of like hits in the game, even from the first one. And maybe I'm not hearing it. Maybe it's mixed a certain way that it is blended. But like I say, even still, I thought they did a pretty good job with this. So they definitely hit the note on the music department. The action, the use of the spells, the way that the animation just looks when they're moving. Your thoughts on this? Did you think the action kind of lived up to the hype here, like the expectations?
I think it might have been a little bit less action than the previous, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, they were dealing with like a full-out war.
Yeah,
going on in the original. Yeah, so
I think it was a little less, but it was also more like a lot of build-up with this one and a little more focused on the characters. Because like say like even Annette, it was pretty cool like seeing her story and like her, I guess, like cultural references and like the people that she would like kind of get her powers from.
Right.
And then like even like later on, like without like spoiling anything, but like later on you kind of see her growth too. And then like I guess her ancestors like being involved in like her powers and all that. And it was pretty cool seeing each character's kind of growth.
Yeah, everybody has a glow up. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
And then I was gonna say Trevor, the Belmont whip, like even seeing like how that works. And
because what would was it a whip in the other series he was using, or was it something else?
I think he had a sword and a whip.
Yeah, I feel like he had like a, I don't know what it was. I had to watch that again.
Yeah, I feel like I need to rewatch because this might be maybe from his grandfather.
Yeah. They so in this show too, they kind of, how do I say this? Like they touch more in the with Olrock's kind of showing the sexuality of the vampires and like how it kind of like doesn't it kind of expands beyond what we normally would see, and we see the relationships that he has, and then of course them. I'm trying to figure out how that even works with like a vampire and human all together. Like, you still keep everything? Does everything still work even though you're dead? Like how's that work? But no, they do a really good job of like touching that. Like it's there, but it's not like hitting you in the face with it or anything. Like it's just like a normal thing. Like hey, vampires were gay, whatever. let's keep it moving. as far as like the brutalness, like the violence in the show, I think they it's still top notch, man. People getting their arms ripped off, people just man, they do not hold back on the blood and gore in
Oh
this show at all.
yeah.
Why can't Resident Evil get this right?
I know.
Like it's so like Castlevania, like I feel like the layup is right there. Netflix picked up the perfect thing to put on, you know, to animate. Like I didn't think this was going to be good when they first announced. I was like, oh man, they about to ruin this, you know. But I was surprisingly wrong, and I'm happy to say I was wrong. You know what I mean? So, what is something that, you know, not spoiling this particular show, but like something Castlevania lore wise that you definitely want to see going forward, maybe for like maybe a different series or just this franchise in general?
I guess I like how it kind of delves into like politics and like morality. So like even in the first series, like you kind of see like the church being kind of like, it's like hard to explain, but like the church being like bad, like
kind of hypocrites, like
yeah, like kind of like hypocritical, like without giving much, but like you saw that in the first season as well. So it's kind of cool how like, I don't know, I guess the show delves into like politics and like world troubles, even though it's fiction and horror and fantasy. It's like having the church involved with like vampires is like cool. So I would like to see how, I guess they can do other further world things like Caesar or Cleopatra, or
how far back it goes.
like how far they'll go with it.
That would be interesting. I mean, they've already kind of make it seem like vampires have like infiltrated like the
Yeah,
like, parts
the
of
Messiah
like,
is going to take over the world.
right. Like the just society in general, like vampires are there. They're like the top tier or whatever. Like people like, it seems like people know people are vampires. Like in this, like people just like, okay, yeah, that's a vampire, whatever. Like versus where they were like kind of more in the shadows in like the previous series. Like you did, like they were there, they were kind of just hunting on people, but now they're just normal part of society. Like, yeah, that's a vampire. So so
like now they own their power.
Right. I thought that was interesting. The show in general, like I said, is just really really good. I mean, it's a quick 8 episodes. It's really easy to finish. I highly recommend watching this and the previous. Like I said, it's supposed to come out September 28th. Was there anything that you wanted to just hit on about this show that we might have missed?
Just that I think this season did a great job in terms of like, we throw the word like representation around a lot.
Oh yeah,
but
now
I think this was like genuinely good representation. It wasn't forced. It wasn't marketed as, hey, we have black characters. Hey, we have gay characters. Hey,
right.
we have this. Like, it just existed. They were great, like well-written characters that just exist like real life.
A lot of cosplay coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But like, I think it did a great job too. Like I even said, like showing like different, I guess, cultures and backgrounds, like without even trying to be a trend, if that makes sense. Like it just was a well-written show that happened to take place during this time, and like these people existed, and vampires travel the world, so vampires are going to be like cultured.
Right.
So I think that was great. And then this season like did a lot of like I guess themes of like revolution and like family and revenge, and like there's a lot of like unexpected alliances. So I highly recommend checking this one out.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely 5 stars. Like I said, Netflix has been hitting it out of the park. I mean, I feels like I've been with Netflix for like 20 years. When did they start their services? Like when did streaming start popping off? Like after like 2010, 2012 or something like that?
I'm trying to remember like the first Netflix, because I remember when Netflix back when we used to have DVDs. Like we used to
I was there too.
Mail in our DVDs. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, but like I said, I've been there since day one. I'm not unsubscribing. They got all the content that I want to watch right now. I'm not getting paid by Netflix, but I'm telling you, this show is definitely 100% worth it. Definitely worth your time. 8 episodes, quick, easy watch. I'm already waiting for a second season. I'm mad that it's not there. So like I said,
we get it.
The music, the cast, the art.
Sorry. I was gonna say another thing before I forget. I love that the Belmonts are so cocky.
Oh.
And that still has not gone away. So there's a lot of personality with this one.
300 years of them talking shit. But like I said, they hit all the quadrants, they hit all the points. This is definitely something I probably wouldn't watch this with your kids.
No.
But but
Vampires like sex. Vampires like blood.
But like I said, I highly recommend watching it. September 28th, coming on Netflix. You know you're not unsubscribing. Me and Nadia both say it's great. Please leave us a comment below. Let us know what you thought about the show, any questions you want us to respond to, anything like that, and we will be definitely answer. I know Nadia's gonna be posting it. We're gonna be posting it, and then you're gonna see it from everyone. But like I said, once this actually comes out, September 28th, let us know what you thought about the show in the comments below, and we will see you next time for another review. See you.